Matt and I have been working together for about 10 years now, and it's been a great experience for me. Our imaginations seem to be well aligned. So the process of developing this show in particular has been more than a year-long process. We've been through multiple workshops and readings of the show in which we take the input of the actors, the input of the audience, and really look closely at what is working, what can we do better. And it's just been a delight to have had the creative freedom over the past year to really approach it with such depth.
I've really been inspired for this tale by the grandeur of British theater. We're going to be using very simple elements that would take us back in time. Things that start to feel tangible, that allow us to be slightly elevated above just our surroundings.
I am so excited about all of the costuming, all of the set design. Everyone working on the show is so brilliant that you do really feel like a kid on Christmas waiting.
I mean, this is a ghost story. It's one of my favorite things about it. There's something that is absolutely human to everybody. Each one of us, it's so true that the things that truly haunt us are things that we know, right? It's things from our past, it's things that we've done, it's things that we don't want to deal with right now, we push it away.
I think what Scrooge is really after, though he rejects it at the beginning of the story, is I want to be in community with other people.
Really, this is a show where we get to watch Scrooge do the work. And I think that the ghosts, each in their own way, sort of play the role of therapist and teacher and guide and healer. And they each do that in very different ways. They sort of represent something that exists in each of us that is sort of a call toward growth.
I think that some people view Scrooge as a villain. I would not call him a villain, but he just had a really hard life. I think really facing the things that we don't want to see or the things that we don't want to talk about. I think when you hold a mirror up to yourself, that sometimes that can be the scariest thing.
Everything I've ever written is somehow about the processing of what we have learned as children. It seems like it's subliminally something that I'm always wrestling with. A Christmas Carol, as I approached it, I wasn't even aware that that was the case until I really dug into the story and started realizing how deeply it's about Scrooge wrestling with the pain that he's carrying around all the time.
My psychologist wife says that the only true way to bring about change in an individual is through pain and more pain. And in this particular story, Scrooge experiences a threefold pain. The first round gets his attention. The second round gets him thinking. And the third round gets him to change.
I think part of what I love about this story is that it has to do with the inevitability of pain and suffering and how we deal with that. And the truth of that is that it's really scary. So to me, it makes a lot of sense that these ghosts are the ones coming to Scrooge and that they are scary in a way, because it's a really scary journey to go on, to look at who you are and the choices you've made and the regrets that you have, the truth of your pain and how you've dealt with it and how you've inflicted it on other people.
This version is really interesting because it focuses so much on the making of Scrooge, how Scrooge got to be in the place in which we know him now.
What he experiences from a young child all the way to the present day of Scrooge's life. In this story, we are able to see reasons why those choices are justified.
I love that we're showing moments that are so human. My decisions, every single one, have created the cage or the community that I'm living in.
I think story is one of the primary ways in which we understand everything. Like humans tell stories, it's what we do. Because things are so wildly complex and mysterious that in the context of a story, we can encompass the complete mystery of humanity. Reality requires a story to be understood.
I want deeply for audiences to feel the change and to look for the change within their own lives.
When we experience something so powerful that we make a commitment to live a changed life, that is what audiences, I believe, will walk away with at the end of the show and say, yeah, that's possible.
I think we all have inside of us something in there that is calling us to experiences where we know there's something to learn. I think that is this really deep call that we all have to go experience art. And I think that this show's real call is one to compassion.
To the person who feels like they have seen and heard the Christmas Carol over and over again, and it's kind of lost its interest, I would say give this a chance. Part of what theater does, it allows us to investigate these mysteries in three-dimensional spaces that help us illuminate what it's like to be human, what's wrong with us, what's right with us, and how can we go forth in a better way.